Alright, plant soil science class. I didn't do a daily work yesterday. I apologize. I think the substitute already told you that. You should have been outside to measure your plants and then come back and make sure you have them all recorded. Remember, you're doing the average, so if you have 5 leaves and they measure it out at 50 centimeters total, then that would be a 10 centimeter average, and that's what I want to record it for your plants. So make sure that you have all of the different plant heights recorded. What we're going to do next is try to add in a little bit of something to make your plants grow better. Yesterday you went to a Google Doc and filled in plant nutrient functions and deficiencies. With plant nutrient functions and deficiencies, it's not like soil where you have a little buffer system, because your soil holds stuff itself. Water holds water. So all you got going on your plants right now is water. And our lettuce is doing okay, and that's because of photosynthesis, which would be something else that we get to talk about, which I know you guys enjoy because you learned about it in biology class, and it just makes everybody's warm and fuzzy day. But before we get to photosynthesis, we're going to get to this little guy here. By each one of your groups, there was this jug. What you're going to do today is try to figure out how much of this jug you're going to put into your water system. How do we do that? Well, we do it through directions. On the back side of this jug, it gives you directions. Group Gigantor here, Swampy Pete as I like to call it, you guys are going to have the toughest one. And I'm going to tell you something's going to need to change, because there's no way you can use this much. You're going to have to figure out a way to lessen the amount of water for each group. I would think group Tate, your guys' probably will be okay. But the other groups, you guys are going to be using too much water, and you'll dilute this down to where you're going to be using too much of this. Therefore, we're going to have to figure out how you're actually going to do it. But for today, what I want you to figure out is how much of this stuff do you need to put in for your plants tomorrow. So, to do that, you need to look at the label. On the back side of this label, yeah, that's clear. Not clear at all. It gives you a nice little table. This little table here tells you how much nutrient you need to put in per gallon. Unfortunately, you might not know how many gallons you have. So, you need to figure out how many gallons you have in your tubs. This sounds like a mess, and it probably will be a mess. You'll be using buckets, however you want to do it. If you spill bin, make sure you clean up bin. If you have already figured out how many buckets you have, then you just need to look in the back label, and life is looking pretty smooth for you. But if you have not figured out how many gallons you have, you got to go through that. Where it comes into play is, Laura, you're not filling the whole thing. You're filling up how much you need to make sure that the pump is always covered, because Christian's group would tell you if the pump isn't covered, it's going to plow in water, or not water, sorry, air, and that's hard on your pump. So you want to make sure that you're always pumping in some water, and so you need to figure out how much water you need to add to get it so your pump is covered both when it's pumping and when it's not pumping. So, Group Swampy Pete, you need to think through how many gallons you have down underneath there, and it is a heavy, heavy mess right now. Maybe you want to hook up a hose to the bottom and then siphon it out, figure out how many gallons. Oh, I don't know. I just don't know about you guys. Your group needs to think through some things. And so instead of dinking around and playing on your cell phone today, make sure you brainstorm. What could we do different? I actually think your group might want to try to replant. I have the lettuce seeds, and you might want to take the rock wool tomorrow or Wednesday and figure out if you want to replant. And then Tate's group over there, you guys should be sitting okay. You should be able to figure out how many, and so your group will be okay. And then group number Dose and Trace over there with the flood, I think you guys should limit the amount of water that's being pumped on. Meaning it fills up so much, maybe you can lower how much it fills up so that way you don't have to pump as much water into the unit, thus lowering the amount of water that is being put onto the plants, thus lowering the amount of fertilizer that you need to put in. So there's 4 little hints. For tomorrow, I want each group to have how much this is. How much of this little juicage they have to put on. Do not do it today. Show your work, and we'll go through to see if you're right on Wednesday or not. After you finish, please don't cause the grief to the substitute. If you're bored and you need something to do, clean up around your stuff, wrap the wires up so they're not on the ground, do something just to make life prettier. That should be about good. Oh, and of course, go back and finish your notes that you didn't finish from Monday. Alright, I'm out.